everybody, it's time again for Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. My name is Deborah and I'm coming to you from here on my family farm in the foothills of the Arkansas Ozarks, where I like to do all the crafts. I knit, I crochet, I sew, I quilt, I make baskets, I make jewelry. The lighting is terrible in here because I'm sitting in a different spot because I'm waiting on somebody to show up. I like to do all the crafts. I'll try any craft once and twice if I like it. I'm also a professor of physics and astronomy at a local university where I teach courses to physics majors. I teach general education courses, and I also am a docent at our planetarium when we have planetarium programs. I am also a third-generation family farmer. I live here where I raise grass-fed beef cattle. I raise horses. I have heritage poultry. I have a retirement herd of miniature horses, miniature donkeys, a miniature mule named Pumpkin who thinks she rules the roost, and Princess Penny, the potbelly pig, the protector of the poultry. And as you can tell from my two co-hosts here, Willie, who's back here in his hammock that he likes to sit in while I'm sitting in my chair, and Simon, who is making a special appearance just for Miss Shirley today. I am fur kid mom to 14 dogs, 7 indoor cats, and an undetermined number of outside barn cats. So if any of all of that sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll join us here on Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. Oh, we have an extra special guest today. As she'll turn around here where you can see her. Kitty, kitty, kitty. And Luna, who never makes an appearance. I can turn this way, you can see her. Hi, Luna. Well, you can see that part of her, which is not the prettiest part. Okay, so if you're looking for us on social media, you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Doc Firewoman. There is also a Ravelry group for the podcast, and I have been using Instagram hashtags pretty heavily recently for our different make-alongs and our different giveaways. Also, there is a Facebook group for the podcast Diary of Physicist Farmgal, and you can post in there too. I'm drawing primarily right now from Instagram and Facebook for the monthly stuff. And then there will be finished objects threads for the big make-alongs for the year-end stuff on Ravelry. I'm still waiting to see how Ravelry works out some of its usability issues. I like a lot of what they do. I like their political stance on a lot of things. I just wish that they would listen to their audience a little bit more. So we'll see. Right now, we have some different make-alongs going on. We have the pandemic sampler, Sal from Long Dog Samplers. That is a year-long Sal. We'll have another stitching weekend coming up in probably later this month where we can stitch together on that or any other stitching project. We'll do another pandemic panic or Pan-Sal panic probably in July. Also, we have the Farmgal Mal, which is any craft that you want to work on, you can post with that hashtag. And also, we have the No Shame Mal. The No Shame Mal is stuff that you started since the beginning of the year. Even if you've got 20,000 other projects started, yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention, as an aside, I am on Twitter as Doc Firewoman, but I am a pretty outspoken, as you can tell from my shirt here, happy Pride, y'all. I am a pretty outspoken politically liberal, and especially on social issues. So if that kind of stuff bothers you, this is probably not the place for you. There's plenty of other podcasts where you can go check those guys out. That's fine. If you don't like it, that's fine. Go find something you do like. This isn't not an airport, however, and you don't need to announce your departure. So find somebody where you feel comfortable and you feel happy, and we'll be comfortable and happy over here. And last but not least, speaking of Pride Month, this is the June monthly Mal that we're having, and it's Pride Month. So anything that supports the LGBTQIA2S community in any way, the alphabet mafia, as people on TikTok like to call it. So any makers, you purchase any patterns, bags, flosses, threads, yarns, anything that you purchase that supports the LGBT plus community in any way is eligible for an entry in our June monthly Mal. We are going to have a sewing circle weekend, probably this Sunday, I think, will be the sewing circle weekend. If you want to get in on that, I do a drawing for a Joann's gift card. I will announce the winner of that on Sunday via Instagram from last time, and I will post the information for the Zoom meetup where you can join us on Zoom if you want to sew. And I'm probably going to start it earlier this time and end it earlier so people in different time zones can get in on it. I'm probably going to start it like at 10 in the morning and run it from like 10 to 2 or something like that. I was doing it from noon to 5, so I may run it from like 9 to 2 or something. We'll see. We'll just see how things shape up. Right now I'm sitting in kind of a warm house, so I'm not thinking straight, but we'll talk more about that in farm life. Anyway, that's our social media, so come check us out. If you haven't watched the monthly Mal video with Sarah Vargas from Notorious Needle, go check that out. And we're going to move on now and talk about FOs, and I have a big one. Woohoo! Okay, so as I said, my house is kind of warm. I just had a new HVAC unit installed, and something's wrong with the thermostat. So I called the people, and they're supposed to come and look at it today or tomorrow or whatever. It's a little muggy outside, so I'm just trying to keep it. I mean, the thermostat is acting like the batteries are dead. I put new batteries in it. When it came back on of its own accord the other day, it kind of reset itself and it showed a full battery. So I don't know if there's something else going on or what, but the downside is, since it's all digital, I can't even turn on the fan to circulate air in here right now. But anyway, be that as it may, it will work. We'll get it straightened out. Anyway, so I do have some finished objects. I have 2 finished objects. So the first one that I'll show you is in my April 9 Designs Beekeeper's Cats bag here. And I finished my F-Turfs cowl by Quaylen Stark. This cowl I made last month for in support of the transgendered person community. This is a pattern by Quaylen Stark that is available on Ravelry. I believe is also available through a link on his website. This is crocheted in some yarn that I picked up at East Texas Fiber Festival. It was a super easy crochet. It's going to be really super warm, and I love this color combination on it a lot. So yeah, this was yarn that was just by a local person that was trying to learn to dye yarn, and they were selling it really inexpensively. So I wanted to support them because I know renting booths or paying booth rental at those fairs cannot be cheap. So I finished that. Very straightforward pattern. I highly recommend it. Even if you're a beginning crocheter, it is definitely doable, and it used up almost all of the 2 skeins of yarn that I had. So that's excellent. I like it when I use up almost all the yarn. Now, before I show my big one, I did make a couple of dresses. I didn't bring them in here, but I will try to remember to post pictures. They're both the same pattern. They're called the Bella Racerback. I put one of them over here. The Bella Racerback by Bella Sunshine Designs on Etsy. And one of them I made in some double brush spandex from Joann Fabrics. And the other one I made in some cotton jersey knit from Spoonflower. I used the jersey as my test fabric to kind of get it worked out the way that I wanted. And then I used the more expensive Spoonflower fabric to make the second dress. It has pockets, which I like. I like the fit of it. It's a kind of a loose fit sundress. It's not super snug, which is great. And again, I think it'll be really versatile. I can wear it with a sweater over it or a cardigan over it as a way to make it go into fall. And I like my sundresses long. I wish it was a little bit longer on the Spoonflower fabric. I just didn't order enough. I didn't realize that it was only down to the knee, and I like my sundresses to come down to mid to lower calf, kind of more like a maxi dress. But I still love it, and I think it turned out really well. So Bella Sunshine Designs Bella Racerback dress. Now here's my biggie in my Grenade Creations bag. My tartan plaid bag that she made. I finished my sweater, and there ain't no amount of money that would make me put this on and show it to you because it is hot. I'm not putting it on. I finished my flax. It's all wadded up from being in the bag, but I finished it. I finished my flax. I'm very, 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 very tickled with the fit on this. It comes down exactly where I want it. It fits really well. It's going to be super warm. This is the Flax by Tin Can Knits. It is knit in Wool of the Andes from Knit Picks in a colorway called Mineral Heather. I knit the 2X size for myself, mostly to fit chest measurements. I could have gone down a little bit smaller below that, but I just wanted to go ahead and make it loose. I knit the sleeves longer than called for in the pattern. They hit me about right here. So yay, I have finished my first adult-sized sweater. Woohoo! Do, 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 do. So yay. So there's that. Okay, so that's all my finished objects that I will share with you, and we'll move on and talk about works in progress. Okay, so I have a few works in progress that I will share with you today. The first one is I started a crocheted vest. I started the Harlow boho vest. This is a pay-for pattern on Ravelry. It is by Denny Made. D-E-N-I-M-A-D-E, Denny Made, and it comes in quite a few different sizes. I think it goes up to a 4 or 5X size. So it is pretty size inclusive, okay? I am making it calls for cotton, but I am actually making it out of some acrylic. This is a Lion brand ice cream big scoop that Tyra gave me, and I am working on the first front panel. Now, I will say on this pattern, I like the vest. I wish that there had been a schematic included in the pattern to show how it goes together, because trusting the pattern is a lot easier if you have a schematic. The other thing is I found I did not get gauge with the called for yarn size and hook. So I've actually gone up a hook size. I went from a J to a K hook. And now I seem to be getting a lot better gauge. I realize it's going to block out quite a bit because it is pretty lacy. My concern is getting it long enough. I don't want a vest that's going to hit me just below the waist. The whole point of making this vest is I wanted it to be long like it is on the person in the pattern. And right now, I'm not seeing how that's going to happen on me. So I'm trying to just trust the process. But anyway, so I just started it, started it a second time. And I'm working on the way this is made. You make 2 fronts and 2 backs, and then 2 fronts and a back, and you seam it together. So, yeah, so I'm about a little over halfway done with the first front panel. And then I'll make a second one and then make the back. It's a pretty quick project, so that's nice. My other fibery work in progress is I worked on my socks. I worked on my Fernway socks. I went to an event this weekend. Harmony in the Hollow, Pagan and Pride was this weekend, and I taught at the event. I taught about the science behind weather lore, and then also backyard allies, how to use backyard plants or what some people would call weeds for various purposes. So I took my socks with me, and I'm working on the Fernway socks by Knitting Expat. This is from her Wanderlust sock bag. It's here in my little planets bag. And I got finished with the toes and am now starting up the foot of the sock. I knit my socks 2 at a time, toe up. And so this is where I'm at on those. I just started, I think I've done 2 repeats of the eyelets on this. The nice thing, this pattern, the left and the right sock are different because the eyelets lean different directions. But I restarted these because my tension was so loose when I made them before. The socks were going to be huge, so I'm trying to be mindful of my tension. This gray is just some leftover scrap fingering. I think that's from Cloudborn, a Cloudborn gray fingering that I had. And then this is Knit Picks Felici. This is a colorway called Beyond the Wall. So that's where I'm at on those. So I just worked on them. Finished the toes, and then put like 2 repeats of the eyelets on during the classes that not the ones I was teaching. I sat in on some other classes, so I worked on those while I was in those classes. I do have a teaching workshop coming up, so I plan to take these with me as my lunch break / coffee break, whatever, tea break, knitting for that class. Plus also it helps me to listen if I'm knitting. So, and I think everybody that's teaching those classes knows that. So, alrighty. Another work in progress that I have is my Magnolia pillowcase here. I took it out of the hoop. I was using the hoop for something else. So I got a little bit more done on that. You can see the stains on the pillowcase really good now. So got a little bit more done on that. I still have to finish this leaf and then work on the Magnolia next. So I've tried to work on that 3 times a week, try to get that finished. So I'd really hope those stains come out. If not, somebody, I think it was Tyra, gave me the idea of making throw pillows out of them if the stains don't come out. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll come out. But if not, that's okay too. I'll figure something out to do with them. Then I am in a deep dive runes class. I took a runes class with Serendipity Weird, an excellent teacher out of Florida, and we did a 7 or 8 week study of the different Elder Futhark runes from Nordic mythology and religion, and we studied the runes, which I had never really connected with before, and she did a really good job of it. Well, then as a group we decided we would do a deep study on each one of the runes and spend like 3 or 4 days looking at each rune and thinking about it and trying to get to know it a little bit better. And so I thought as part of my meditation and study of the runes, I would do a cross stitch pattern. So what I'm doing is this pattern, and I don't have it printed out, but it has like a knotwork tree in the center, which represents the world tree from Nordic mythology. And then these are the runes. Now I rotated the pattern because to me, everything starts in what would be the north for my traditional practice. And Gibo, which is this rune here, which means a gift, was in the north position, which is not the first rune. So I rotated it around so that Fehu, which is the first one in the alphabet, was at the north position. So I've just rotated, it's a circle of all the rune letters. So I've just rotated it around to fit. This is this Gentle Arts? Yeah, this is Gentle Arts overdyed floss in a colorway called Mountain Mist. And then this is 32 count linen from the Subtle Samplers Club from Fortnite Fabrics. So got that much. I'm trying to do each rune as we do it. So we've just moved on today to a new one. We've moved on to Wunyo. So I need to move on and stitch that. And I also want to bring the border around and then start on the tree at some point. I'm going to do mine all in one color. And then what I would like to do when I'm done is put this on the top of a box to store my runes and candles and oils and stuff in. So yay. That'll be really pretty when it's done. Okay. The other stitching that I've worked on is I was invited to the Sampler Zoom meetup from the Bendy Stitchy podcast, and I have been working on a sampler for quite a while, and I'd put it down and had not picked it back up. I am working on I'm sorry, it's not Samplers, it's Quakers, excuse me, the Quaker Zoom. I don't have a cover picture of this, but this is the Farm Quaker by Jardin Privé, and I started this last year with Vanessa from A Historian Knits. She had the Private Garden Sal, and she had started a pattern from them, and I had never heard of them, so I purchased some of their patterns, or 2 of their patterns. I purchased one that had dogs on it, and then the Farm Quaker, and basically finished the center motif and then quit. Okay, so I finished the center motif, and then I started on the beehive, and I messed it up, and so ended up ripping it out and not starting it again. I had put it in the wrong place and done it wrong, so I had a twofer. All right, so I picked out the beehive and moved it, and then I got some work done on this top motif. So basically, this is the top of the pattern here, and then this is the central motif here, and it's got the date on it. I'm going to put the date on it that I purchased the farm when I finish it. So it'll be my farm sampler, kind of a commemorative of when I purchased the farm. This is 28 count Jobelin in a color called Lamb's Wool from 123 Stitch. And then this is, I believe this is also Gentle Arts in Buckeye Scarlet, or Scarlet Buckeye. Again, it's overdyed, and you can see the variation there. So I think it's going to be really pretty when it's done. I just put it up and didn't pick it back up. So I appreciated being invited to the Quaker Zoom to have a reason to pick this back up. Okay, so those are all my works in progress, and we'll move on, and I'll show you just a couple of future crafting. Okay, so I've only got one future crafting to show you here today. I'll talk about a couple of things that I want to do in acquisitions, but I've only got one already bagged up handy. So this is another one of Charlotte's bags from April 9 Designs. It's got doggies on it, and you know I love the doggies. This is one of her large zipper bags, and in it I have kitted up the stuff to do the beekeeper cardigan. Okay, I bought this 3 years ago when they did this as their 4-day kind of over July, beginning of July knit, olive knits. There is no way in the world I was ready to knit this. So now I am. Now I know a lot more about sweater construction. So now I'm ready to knit this. And so I've got this kitted up, and I'm going to start it because I want this sweater to wear this fall over some of my dresses. So the color that I'm going to do, this is Maize Heather, and this is a Craftsy, because I bought it back when whatever permutation of Craftsy was around in 2018. This is some of their Cloudborne DK, and this is called Maize Heather. So it's a nice mustardy yellow color that I think will look really good over that Lady McElroy fabric for the Cobra Corsage dress. So this is why I'm motivated to knit this. So I'm going to start this toward the end of the month after I finish this crocheted vest and try to get some of this cross stitch knocked out. So yep, that's my only future crafting, and I've got a couple of acquisitions that I'll show you. Okay, so the first thing that I will show you is I got another water bottle because I ran out of room for my stickers on my first one. So now I've got a water bottle and a Diet Coke bottle. I just wanted to show you some of these stickers and where I got them from. So this one, and these two came from Ace the Pitmation on Etsy, which has a lot of mental health awareness, body positivity, inclusivity stickers. Always is running really good sales, and it's just a really great sticker spot. These stickers came from Leon Alexander Yarns, those two, and then this Moon Goddess one. And I just got the backpack that has this design printed on it. And then these two came from a company called The Third Arrow, which is owned by a transgendered person and supports transgendered person charities. So The Third Arrow, I think they're also on Instagram where you can find them. So if you want to put your money where your mouth is, or support things, support makers, that's a good way to do it. So some more water bottle stickers for you. Then a few years ago, I was gifted several skeins of this yarn by a good friend as a Christmas gift. This is some of the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes hand painted, and this is a colorway called Sea Monster. And I found a pattern that I wanted to make, but I needed a couple more skeins to have enough because it's a crocheted pattern. It's a sweater. It's a crocheted cardigan. And so I was lucky enough to find 3 more skeins, which is what I needed on D-Stash, and it's the same dye lot, which I don't know if there was only one dye lot of this or not, but this is the same dye lot as this. So hooray, that's very fortuitous. So I recently got that off of a D-Stash. Then I made the decision. Okay, the way this decision process was a little bit roundabout. Every year for my birthday over at the barn, we do a theme. So if you'll remember, a couple of years ago, it was Roaring 20s, and then there was a 50s theme, like a tea party type theme. This year, it's the 80s. So we seem to be sticking to these decade themes. So it's I love the 80s. So we got to thinking about there's all the kind of cool stuff from the 80s. MTV, Cyndi Lauper, Prince, you know, Madonna, all these great musical acts. Aerosmith came back in the 80s. So we're doing the 80s, you know, aerobics, neon colors, whatever. So I was thinking, oh, okay, flash dance. I was originally going to go with like the sweatshirt with the neckline cut out of it and the leg warmers and all that stuff. So I was going to crochet some leg warmers. Well, then I decided I didn't really have enough time. But I decided I wanted to make myself some leg warmers for fall to wear with some of my clothes. Well, I had purchased a skein of Joe and the Dreamcoats from Brenda and Heather Yarns, and I loved it, and I loved what it represented. And I found this leg warmer pattern that's basically two sock legs, really, really big, long sock legs that come all the way up to your thigh, mid-thigh. And so I might have ordered another sock set from them. So this is Joe and the Dreamcoats. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the black for the top and the bottom cuffs. And then I'm just going to knit as much of this skein of yarn as I can for each leg warmer. So now I have two skeins. So two leg warmers. Welcome back to the 80s, right? But anyway, it's basically just a pattern that's 2x2 ribbed. And it goes up your leg. But there'll be some increases, you know, as your leg gets a little bit bigger. Now, the last thing that I will show is some fabric that I have bought because this was just too stinking cute. I ordered this off of Etsy. It is a Tula Pink fabric, and I think it's called Little Stinker. And it's a skunk. The background flowers change to the different colors of the rainbow, but it's a skunk. And I ordered enough to make myself a skirt out of it. So I'm super excited to get into this and make one of those chocolate chip skirts like I made out of the octopus fabric. So yay! So that's all my acquisitions. So now we're going to move on and talk about science. Okay, well, Willie's back here in his hammock. Y'all can't see him. Will that work? No. Is that too dark? No, that's all right. We're going to talk about, you don't need to see good anymore anyway, right? Really? Hi. Oh, my goodness. So, I've been teaching online, and that I finished one class. It was just a short-term 3-week class, and now I'm teaching my second class. Just started this past week, so we're about a week in, and I've got 4 more weeks to go. I did get accepted into our Teaching Excellence Academy it's not next week, but the week after. So it's through the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, and I'm looking forward to being in that. I just submitted a grant proposal for a grant for NASA at the library, and it is a grant where they're picking one representative per region, and the country's broken up into 6 regions from different universities or wherever to do programs primarily about the Webb Space Telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, which is supposed to launch. Please, 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 please let it launch in October. So I decided I would submit a grant where the couple of things that they're wanting us to do is to do outreach through different libraries that they've made communication with that serve underserved communities and underrepresented minority communities. So I really like the idea of that. So I thought it'd be a great service learning project, but I talked to 2 of my former students that are now seniors, and they're going to be my lead students on that grant. So if we get, I think we have a really good shot at getting it. I think we are very competitive for it. It's just a question of luck of the draw at this point. So we're going to do that, we hope. And if not, I still like the idea of what they were talking about. If we didn't get awarded the grant, we could do something similar here in Arkansas. So yeah, there's a solar eclipse coming up tomorrow. Today is the 9th of June. Tomorrow is the 10th. The new moon is tomorrow. So there's a solar eclipse coming up. Won't be anything where we can see it. I think it's out over the ocean. I haven't even looked to see where the eclipse map is. But it has to be a new moon, right? It has to be a new moon for a solar eclipse, because what has to happen is the moon has to pass directly between the earth and the sun, which it does all the time. However, I'll put a little diagram up here that shows the shadow of the moon normally, because the moon's orbit is tilted, is about 5 degrees, by about 5 degrees. Normally, the moon's shadow misses the earth, because you wouldn't think 5 degrees is that much, but when you're, a couple 100,000 miles away, that's a pretty big circle. So the shadow normally doesn't hit the earth when we're in a new moon, so we don't have eclipses all the time. But sometimes it works out to where the shadow lines up so that it hits the planet, and that's when we have solar eclipses. The same is also true of lunar eclipses. For the same reason, they're more common, because the shadow of the earth is a whole lot bigger than the shadow of the moon. Teddy's rolling on the floor over here making a noise. So lunar eclipses are a little bit more common, but you have to have a full moon for those. So for new moon, it has to line up sun, moon, earth. And that is for a solar eclipse. So I'll put a diagram in here that kind of shows how that works out. But it's a new moon, the June new moon, and so that's something interesting you could be looking out for. Also, Grace is getting ready to head off on her big adventure as a graduate student, so I'm really excited about that. I've written a couple of other letters for students to go off to graduate programs they're trying to get in mid-semester, so that would be really good. And then other than that, we're just sort of trying to get back in the mode of thinking about going back in the fall. That's why I wanted to do this Teaching Excellence workshop, to try to come back with a more useful way of teaching my classes. What is it we're really trying for them to get out of the classes, besides some knowledge? But there's other things there, they're scientists in training. They're not students so much. By the time they get to me, they're scientists in training, and I like treating them that way. So, yeah. So that's pretty much everything that's going on right now as far as campus goes and science stuff goes. So I'm going to end it, and we'll talk about farm life. Okay, well, the sun is out. Hooray, hooray. But it's going to rain some more tomorrow. Y'all, this rain, I know there's places that are just dying for rain, and Lordy, how I wish I could send you some. And I know that there'll come a time when we'll wish that we had some rain too. But right now, the flies and the mosquitoes and the fleas and the bugs and the humidity, I tell you what, it is about to make me cuss worse than I already do. Our poor horses, we are fighting this disease in their feet called white line disease, which is a terrible name for it. But when you look at a horse's hoof, you have the sole, and they're kind of like our nails. There's the keratinous tissue, which is the outer hoof wall, and then there's the living tissue with all the blood vessels in it, kind of like the nail bed. It's called the lamina. And then between is a layer of material. And what can happen is you can get a bacteria up in that material between the two layers, and it will cause those two layers to start to separate. And it loves wet, muddy, gross conditions, and it loves no oxygen. It's an anaerobic bacteria. So if you don't keep the feet cleaned out good, the bacteria just continues to thrive. And in these conditions, they just keep that mud packed up in there, and it's really hard to clean out their feet good. And so what ends up happening is around the outer edges of the hoof wall starts to separate, and you get this trench, and that can cause them to feel lame. Just like if you were to get a fungus in between your nail and the nail bed, and if you tried to touch that, it would hurt. And and we combated it a lot last year and a lot over the winter, and it's starting to rear its ugly head again. And we found a good treatment, but my gosh, it's just, we need to dry just a little bit. I'd love to send y'all who need some of this rain some rain. My garden is looking good for what it is. I mean, I don't have a lot of stuff planted, but my plants are doing really great. The animals are all seeming to do well. I've got a couple more new baby calves, so that's always exciting. So far, knock on wood, my bulls have stayed home. So I fixed the holes. They seem to be satisfied to stay home now, so that's good. I haven't had any more in the yard visitations or anything like that, so that's good. It's just wet, y'all. It's just wet. It is. We started our summer riding program. We've gotten one day in. We canceled Monday because of all the storms. Luckily, they held off yesterday. We take Wednesdays off usually, and then we'll start back tomorrow. But I looked at the forecast, and we've got an 80% chance of storms in the morning at 6 o'clock, which is when my group starts. I have a group that rides from 6 to 7:30, and then there's another group, and then it comes in from 8 to 9:30, and then she typically does lessons at 9:30 for the little kids. So I've got the more advanced group at 6. So we'll see how that goes. Trixie is Trixie's having to grow up and be a real horse now. She just had her birthday. Her birthday was June the 6th. She's 5 years old. And she just had her birthday, so she's having to grow up and be a real horse now. So she got ridden by Zoe in the 6 o'clock class, and then Melissa rode her in the later class. And that's on purpose because she doesn't like to be around other horses very much. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to do a little exposure therapy. I have been riding Miss Marianne's brother's horse, Cash, because we're trying to build top line on him. So I'm trying to exercise him. Can y'all see how pitiful these dog is with these little feet right here? Oh my goodness, it's a rough life, y'all. It's tough to be Willie. It really is. It is so hard. But everything else is doing good. We're just motoring on. I need to mow my yard, but it's been so wet, and I don't care if my yard grows up, to be quite honest. I was able to pick a bunch of plants to take over to the class that I taught about backyard allies, which was a lot of fun, and learned about a couple of new plants that I went out and had not seen before. So I'm actually getting ready to meet a friend of mine to go look at some trees that they've got growing on their place, just to see what they are. So I'm excited about that. Farm life is good. Can't complain about the farm life. It's always good, even when it's not great. It's always good. So right now everything seems to be going along fairly swimmingly. We'll see how it shapes up, but so far everybody's staying home and nothing weird is happening, and we like that. We like just steady state is good. Anyway, so I'm going to move on and end with a few final thoughts. Okay, so I was searching for something to read about Pride Month. One thing that I was very heartened by at the event this weekend was how many families came out with their teenagers and early 20-year-olds to support their expression, to support them discovering who they are as people and their expression. And what a world would be if everyone had that when they were that age, right? If we had all been supported in that way when we were younger, to find out who we are. And, as I've gotten older, I've come to understand more about who I am as a person and what my beliefs are and what my desires and hopes for the future in terms of love and life and all of those things are. And what I have come to understand about myself is what I find what I find appealing about people is not necessarily their gender, but who they are as a person. That's more interesting to me. And then, of course, they're what is it? Hearts, not parts. So some people say, parts are good. We need parts, right? But hearts, if I want to find you attractive, you have to have a beautiful person and a beautiful soul and spirit and a beautiful heart. And otherwise, I'm not. It doesn't matter. Your physical parts don't matter. But then we can take the next step. So, you know, he, she, they, them, anyone in between. It's all, to me, it's all about what's in here. You know, and you've got to appeal to my brain and you've got to appeal to my heart first. And then we'll go from there. So I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about the supportiveness. And I did a search for, and I looked at several different things to read. And this is one that really struck me because it describes discovery on a lot of different levels. It's not exclusive to Pride Month. But it certainly is about that. And it also describes us finding our chosen family. You know, the old phrase, blood is thicker than water, is really, what is it? The blood of the covenant is thicker than the waters of the womb. And that means if your family doesn't accept you for who you are, you know, I'm your mom now because, you know, family of choice is a great place for support if you don't have it from your blood family. So I found this poem by Cameron Awkward Rich, and it was published in 2018 in Poem a Day on August 30th by the American Academy, or the Academy of American Poets. And it's called Cento Between the Ending and the End. Sometimes you don't die when you're supposed to. And now I have a choice to repair a world or build a new one inside my body. A white door opens into a place queerly brimming gold light, so velvet gold, it is like the world hasn't happened. When I call out, all my friends are there. Everyone we love is still alive, gathered at the lakeside like constellations. My honeyed kin, honeyed light beneath the sky. A garden blue stalks, white buds the moon's marble glow, the fire, the distant and flickering, the fire distant and flickering, the body whole, bright-winged, brimming with the hours of the day. A beautiful nameless planet. Oh, friends, my friends, bloom how you must, wild until we are free. That was a big sigh, Teddy. Bloom how you must, wild until we are free. May we all someday live in a world where we are free of this hate and this overwhelming fear that some people live with, you know, because they aren't the norm. They aren't what society has decided. Let's be frank. Old white men decided is acceptable. Let's break out of that. Right? Let's break out of that and build a new world. So, Cento between the end and the ending. Wild until we are free. Anyway, so that's where I'm going to leave y'all. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you're taking care of each other. You know, please continue to be cautious. We are not done with this virus that we've been dealing with. It is not over yet. So still continue to be wise, you know, be mindful and be wise. Reach out to people who need help. You know, you never know what a kind word can make a difference to somebody else day to day. Take care of yourself. Drink your water. Get your sleep. Have your boundaries. You know, take care of yourself. And until I see y'all again, y'all be good to each other and take care of each other. And what, Willie? You gonna wake up? Oh, there comes Teddy. Peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.